Imagine a man so powerful that no army could defeat him, no beast could match his strength, and no chains could hold him. A man chosen by God, gifted with supernatural might to protect his people. But even the strongest fall when they trust the wrong person. This is the story of Samson, a warrior, a judge of Israel, a man of divine strength, and the woman who brought him to his knees. Long ago, in the land of Israel, the people suffered under the oppression of the Philistines. They cried out to God for deliverance, and in response, an angel appeared to a barren woman. "You shall bear a son," the angel declared. "He will be a Nazirite, set apart for God from birth. No razor shall touch his head, and he shall begin to save Israel from the Philistines." True to the prophecy, a boy was born, named Samson. As he grew, it became clear that he was no ordinary child. His strength was beyond human limits, a divine gift tied to his sacred vow. Samson's might became legendary. He tore apart a lion with his bare hands. He struck down 1,000 Philistines with nothing but a donkey's jawbone. He ripped off the gates of a city and carried them up a mountain. The Philistines feared him, and Israel saw him as their greatest hope. But Samson had a weakness. His desires often led him astray. He fell in love with a Philistine woman, despite warnings. When she was taken from him, rage consumed him. He burned the Philistine fields, turning their wealth to ash. This marked the beginning of an unending war between Samson and the Philistines. Then came Delilah. She was beautiful, cunning, and dangerous. The Philistine leaders approached her with an offer she couldn't refuse. 1,100 pieces of silver if she could uncover the secret of Samson's strength. Delilah seduced Samson, whispering sweet promises of love. "Tell me, my love," she cooed. "What makes you so strong? What must be done to bind you?" At first, Samson played with her, feeding her lies. "Tie me with fresh ropes, and I will be as weak as any man," he said. But when the Philistines rushed in to capture him, he snapped the ropes as if they were threads. Delilah pouted, begged, and wept. "How can you say you love me when you hide the truth?" she pleaded, night after night. Finally, exhausted and bewitched, Samson gave in. "My strength is in my hair. If it is cut, I will become weak." That night, as he lay in her lap, she signaled the Philistines. A blade whispered through the air, and his 7 locks fell to the ground. When he awoke, his strength was gone. The Philistines seized him. They gouged out his eyes, shackled him in iron chains, and paraded him like a trophy. The mighty Samson, once feared, now stumbled in the darkness of a Philistine prison, grinding grain like a slave. But something was happening. His hair began to grow. One day, the Philistines gathered for a grand festival, celebrating their victory over Samson. They dragged him to the temple of Dagon, their god, making him a spectacle of mockery. "Let him entertain us," they jeered, as thousands watched from the temple. Samson, blind but not broken, whispered a final prayer. "Lord, remember me. Strengthen me one last time. Let me die with my enemies." He reached out and placed his hands on the temple pillars. With a mighty push, he strained every muscle, every fiber of his being. The pillars cracked, the walls trembled, the temple collapsed, crushing thousands, including the Philistine rulers. And in that moment, Samson achieved his greatest victory. Not in life, but in death. Samson's story is one of strength and weakness, of power and betrayal. He was chosen by God, gifted beyond measure, yet his downfall came not by an army, but by his own choices. His story reminds us that even the strongest can fall when they trust the wrong people. But it also teaches us that redemption is always possible. In his final moments, Samson found his purpose again, and with one act, he changed the course of history. What do you think? Is Samson's story a tragedy or a tale of ultimate redemption? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the past, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful biblical stories.